AITA for telling my friend her kid has no manners. A few of my 26F friends came over to our house for a get-together lunch. A few of them have kids and brought them. One of my friends, Nora 28F, has a 4-year-old son, Jack, that is notorious for being naughty. Jack doesn't get along with other kids and is a constant source of crying and screaming. Nora brought Jack over. He said he wanted to take a nap, so I showed Nora the guest room and told her to make herself comfortable. Nora came back downstairs after a while and we hung out. Now, around 40 minutes later, Jack came back down and was smiling like crazy. He had my wife's Kate 29F wedding ring. Kate is a doctor and doesn't take her ring to work. She leaves it on our nightstand. Jack had clearly gone into our bedroom. I told Nora I'd like him to give the ring back. Nora said he'd just get bored with it now and that I needed to relax. A few minutes later, I asked Jack to please give the ring back. This triggered something because he ran to the window and threw the ring out in our spacious backyard. I got really mad. Kate adores her ring, and I had it custom made with many little touches. It was extra special because it resembled a ring in Nora's family that she couldn't have because she chose to marry a woman. So after all that, I told Nora her god-end son had no manners and she needed to do something about him. Maybe take him to a doctor because this is not healthy kid behavior. She got very upset and left. Other guests started leaving too. Kate and I spent the entire evening looking for it, but we couldn't find it. I am a crying mess. Kate keeps saying it's nothing, but I know how much she loves that ring. Despite all this, every mom in our friend group is calling me an for taking it too hard on Jack and Nora. Was I an? First comment: the social issues, crying, screaming, impulse control, general label of being naughty. Depending on where they live, it's about 1 in 36, up to 1 in 100. When kids aren't obviously stereotypically autistic, it gets missed even more so before they hit school age and are exposed to adults who have an idea of what to look for, even though that isn't a guarantee. However, being male, the odds are in his favor. Having raised a kiddo who was the living definition of trouble with 2 feet and a heartbeat, I did everything I could to try and figure out WTF was going on, even after my ex told me I just need to parent, aka scare into submission. We struggled for years and then finally had him assessed, and turns out he has ADHD, learning disabilities, anxiety and major sensory issues, lights, noise, people eating, socializing, making friends, connecting with those his own age, and so much more, also still waiting on the ASD assessment. Got the diagnoses, did the research, then did my job as his parent to set him up for success instead of ignoring it. Our daily living did a total 180. I'm no longer being assaulted by my kid. He's doing amazing in school and caught up after being years behind his peers. He's making friends and can recognize when his tolerance battery is draining. We GTFO before he implodes. It was a ton of work, and we continue to work on it every day. Jack's parents ignoring the behaviors doesn't help anyone, and it'll bite them in the ass sooner or later. Behavior is communication, and they are ignoring him. Now working in the field and supporting kids with disabilities, the amount of times the big behaviors end up being a desperate attempt for attention, good or bad, didn't matter. They just wanted any scrap of attention they could get, since they aren't getting any at home. Second comment: it's so insane to me the amount of young parents now who just refuse to parent their children. I'm not talking physical discipline, because I don't necessarily agree with that either, but they literally just shove iPads in their face constantly so they never learn any sort of social skills. My kid's being bad? iPad. My kid is curious and I'm too busy shopping, talking, or playing on my phone to watch him? iPad. We're at a restaurant and I don't want to deal with him? iPad. And then when you have the audacity to ask for something as simple as your wife's wedding ring back, and she doesn't want to upset the kid by taking it back, you're the asshole for getting upset? If my child had someone's wedding ring, I would have immediately taken it from them, and there would be some sort of conversation or punishment for going into someone's bedroom and taking their things. They would have been taken out of there immediately. That is not acceptable, and the fact that she really said, oh, he'll get bored of it, instead of just taking it from him? Is she that scared of telling her young child what to do? She should be paying for it to be replaced or renting a metal detector and walking around your yard till she finds it. Unacceptable, and those are not friends I would want to have at my home again either. Just a little rant because this seriously bothers me. I see it all the time, and I'm actually sad for the children that are suffering because they aren't learning basic social skills and emotional regulation because their parents would rather distract them with an iPad 24/7 than deal with them. BTU, this is not a comment on every parent with an iPad, just the kind who constantly use it to keep their child distracted so they don't have to interact with them. And yes, some genuinely have behavioral issues, which is different, and perhaps the kid in this story did, but the mother refusing to take the ring from him says a lot in my opinion. Third comment: so this is tough. You're NTA for getting upset at your friend, but you're kind of the ah for talking bad about a 4-year-old. The focus should have been on your friend being an irresponsible parent and not the 4-year-old being a bad kid. This is definitely not behavior that reflects on the child needing a doctor, but the parent needing to step up and parent them. 4-year-olds are naturally curious, especially in new environments. And a 4-year-old will test boundaries when someone tries to be authoritative, especially if their parent lets them get away with it. A 4-year-old left alone in someone else's home is going to go exploring. A 4-year-old is most definitely going to pick up a shiny, pretty ring they found. And a 4-year-old who obviously has no authority in their life is going to throw a fit over not getting to keep it. This child acted like a child. Your friend didn't act like a parent. They absolutely should have respected you and the ring and should have immediately got it from their child. Instead of saying he'll just get bored with it, that's not a good friend or a good parent. Ultimately, a 4-year-old can't be blamed for acting like a 4-year-old, and a 4-year-old who doesn't have any authority in their life can't be blamed for not acting right. This is 100% on the parent and no reason to talk bad about the kid. Fourth comment, exactly. If his mom wouldn't make him hand it over, I would get it back from him myself. As gently as possible, calmly but firmly telling him I need him to give me the ring because it doesn't belong to him. It is not a toy, and he may not play with it. If he still refused, I'd tell him I was going to help him give it back, and again gently pry open his fingers and take it. If little kids refuse to do what you ask, you can easily just make them do it. If the ask is acceptable, and you don't have to hurt them, of course, for example, hold mommy's hand in the parking lot, followed by taking their hand if it's not offered. I'm sure the mom would have been mad, but I can't believe Op just stood there doing nothing once they knew mom wasn't stepping up. ETA, maybe better even, would be asking, do you want to give me the ring by yourself, or do you want me to help you then if he doesn't hand it over? I see you chose me helping you. I'm going to help you give me the ring and then pry open his fingers. Fifth comment, NTA, I have 5 kids, 4 of them being boys. 2 of them with ADHD like me, 34F first. I do not even let my kids out of my sight when at other people's houses, but before we even went to their house, I would tell them about respecting other people's houses. If a kid was too young to understand, they stayed on my hip. Second, I would have taken the ring right away from them. Something as special as a wedding ring is not to be messed with under any circumstances. If my kid threw it out window, especially a 4-year-old, you best believe his butt and my butt would be outside until the ring was found. I would have been horrified and embarrassed and apologizing profusely, and when we did find it, go home right away and made them draw an apology picture and come back the next day with it and the child and tell the child to apologize. I would also bring your favorite snack, food, drink, and small gift for that also. Because as the parent of the child, I am at fault too for not watching my child. You have every right to be angry. You also directed your anger at the right person, but maybe said it in a different way if the child was around. The kid could have heard something was wrong with them and not the best. Did they know it was a wedding ring? I'm kind of baffled at the point that your friends didn't think it was a big deal for a 4-year-old to have it, let alone throw it out a window. Heck, I would tell them all to take theirs off and throw them out the window too. Like WTDF.